Good evening. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Freeman. I'm the National President of the PSA, and it's my great honour to do the introductions tonight for tonight's webinar. This is obviously our CSI week. So this week we've been launching our 3 new CSIs, and of course we launched our Early Career Pharmacists CSI at our national conference PSA 21 earlier this year. Next slide, please. Thank you. So in terms of the back, I'm just going to try and set the scene for you before handing over to Deanna. And I wanted just to provide you with some of the background thinking in and around the CSI so that you understand where we're coming from and where we're trying to go to with this new initiative. I think for the early career pharmacists, this is not really a new initiative because we've had a long history of community of practice of pharmacists coming together, and that's organically grown over the last 12 to 15 years. I can remember being a part of some of the original early career pharmacists working groups, maybe it was 13 or 14 years ago. And I don't think we ever imagined that we would get to a point where we had so much energy and enthusiasm coming in behind the ECPs. One of the things that we've been thinking about here at the PSA is how we better engage our members. And how do we allow our members to engage with PSA on topics and items that of their interests? So it's not just PSA pushing things out to members, but it's also members coming into PSA and having a place where they can connect with like individuals, but also contribute to the things that are important to them in terms of their area of pharmacy practice. As I said, the ECP working group has had a long and very successful history, and I think the CSIs are the next iteration of that to take the ECP working group to the next level. Next slide, please. So the CSIs will be a member-only benefit. And the reason for that is we want people to feel as part of a community. We don't want, as you would have all experienced with the ECP Facebook page, where you've had people from non-ECP backgrounds come in and also contribute to the conversation. And I see Chris Campbell just putting his hand up there. I also must put my hand up, but really the idea of this is to create a safe space for early pharmacists in the early parts of their career. So that's pharmacists out to 10 years post-registration, but also acknowledging our student cohort who are part of this as well. For me, the process and function of the CSI is really important. I see the CSIs being a thought leader around the topic in which they're being connected into. So one of the first things that Deanna will lead for the group is the development of the refresh of the white paper, which was very successfully launched through PSA some time ago. And can I tell you, formed the platform of our biggest strategy document, the Pharmacist in 2023. And so what we're hoping that this group will do is through the broad connections is contribute to that white paper. I think one of the limitations of our working group structure previously was that it really was challenging for pharmacists who lived outside metropolitan areas to contribute to the working group, because the working groups were situated in our capital cities. And so if you were in Townsville or up in Broome, in Launceston, it was really hard as an ECP then to connect into those groups. It felt almost exclusive to the metropolitan areas. I feel as though this will provide an opportunity for more ECPs to come in and be more intimately connected into the society. So with that thought leadership will come advocacy. So the things that you desire for the direction of the profession to go, and particularly for ECPs, we will then have a group of people connected, well connected into our organisation to be able to start advocating for those things. One of the challenges that we have had in the recent history is that we've actually achieved some of our advocacy asks, but when we try to bring the profession along with us, they're 2 steps behind because we've moved so quickly. And so one of the other opportunities that the CSIs present is the ability for then this group then to feed into the organisation to make sure that we've got the tools, resources, training and education available to our members to make sure that they've got the most ability to take up those advocacy wins when they happen. So that's really, really important. And I think thirdly, and this is where the ECP working groups have really come into their own in the last 10 years, is a community of practice, a place where people can get together, share ideas with one another, provide mentorship for each other as well. One of the nice things, and we'll get to this when we talk about the structure of the CSI, is that it's flexible. Not everyone has to give 100% of their energy and efforts all the time for this. And so we need to acknowledge that people are at different points of their career and other things going on in their life. So some people may just want to contribute to the CSI by observing the discussion and observing and absorbing that information. Others may want to contribute to stakeholder consultations or surveys that the group does, or contribute to our white paper, for example. Others might want to contribute a whole lot more and be part of the leadership group moving forward. So one of the nice things about the CSI format is it provides that flexibility for people to really contribute in the way that they're most comfortable. And of course, that will change over time for people. I think I've pretty much covered that, Deanna. So I'll introduce Deanna for those of you who don't know her already, which I think probably many of you do already know Deanna, but for those who don't, Deanna has acquired a unique and broad base of skills and experience. She's worked in rural, metropolitan areas. She's worked in hospital and community settings, and also in teaching and research areas. And on that, she is currently completing her PhD at the University of Western Australia, and has more supervisors than he can poke a stick at. She's interested in behaviour change and system and professionalism in pharmacy, and hopes to assist organisations like the PSA to facilitate change necessary for expanding pharmacist remuneration, our roles, and also our contribution to the ever changing health landscape. So with that, I'll hand over to you, Deanna, and I'll be online to help field any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Chris. I am so excited to be here, and I've been very excited about this initiative since I first heard about it. I'll just go through a little bit about what the ECP group is about. We'll touch on some of the questions we've been asked a lot as a leadership group, because we previously have had the working group structure and we want to keep all the fantastic things they were doing. But as Chris said to me not long ago, we now want to make it ECPs without borders so that anyone anywhere can connect in with us. As Chris said, I've worked in a few different areas in my very brief career, and I think that's very reflective of an ECP exploring the options out there. So I'm keen to make sure that all those things are visible to our ECPs in the future. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is linking up ECPs with other established pharmacists in areas that they're interested in or areas that they're just curious about. So we have so much access to so many fantastic established pharmacists areas the ECPs may not see when they're a student. They may only see the big pathways of hospital and community, but there's so much more we can do. And this group will really help to highlight those things amongst other things we're passionate about. So the purpose of the ECP CSI specifically is to really give a voice to early career pharmacists. We make up a huge chunk of the profession and a lot of PSA's membership as well. So in recognition of that, we've had the working groups, and then we've also had the early career board appointed director in the last few years. So this is the forum where you can raise concerns, ideas, innovations, you can get some mentoring, and really link back into the profession and PSA and let them know what we want and what we need so that they can advocate on our behalf. And we can see some of that change in the profession already with things like all the states vaccinating with COVID vaccines and previously flu vaccines. PSA has been hard at work for the last 18 months since the pandemic started, helping us to get access to those types of things. So that's the first thing we've got. We've got a voice for ECPs, and we've got a way to feed back into PSA so that they can help us build the profession that we all want and need. So some of the other things that we do is obviously by having this structure, there's a lot of opportunities for people to develop their leadership skills. If they think that they may be interested in nominating for the branch committees in the future, this is a really great taste of the kinds of structure that you'd be involved in and learning the processes of PSA. So we really love helping people to build those leadership skills and share their own expertise and knowledge as an early career pharmacist. So we give that representation. The other thing is that we can feed back into learning and development needs. So PSA obviously produce a lot of continuing professional development. So if there's an area that we're lacking in formal training that we really want to build on, we can feed those types of things back in as well. The other thing, and perhaps the most fun and important part of the CSI and the working groups previously, is that it's a safe space for early career pharmacists. So it's just early career pharmacists in the forum. And then we have the opportunity as a leadership group to go and find the PSA staff and leadership to feed back in any issues we're seeing or anything innovations we'd like to see or changes. So as Chris said, unlike the Facebook page, it will only be early career pharmacists in there. There's a few names of staff, but they're just in there to observe and jump in if they really need to help us with something. So there won't be any, I guess, judgment in our group. We're all there to help each other and learn from each other and share what we can, and hopefully we will avoid that sort of negative space that tends to come through the Facebook group at times. I think sometimes coming from some of our disenfranchised, experienced pharmacists. So it's a safe space, ECPs only, and obviously only early career pharmacists can be part of the ECP CSI. So that's where we differ from the other communities of specialty interest. You're very welcome as an early career pharmacist to be a member of the others, and I would highly encourage you to be if those particular areas are of interest to you. And obviously they're focusing a little bit more on a particular practice area or clinical space. So 100% join up to them as well. But if it's sort of just that early career networking, or you're not sure what you want or where you're going, then the ECP is the space for you as well. So there are different tiers of involvement with the CSI, which is another really cool thing about it. So I might actually start at the bottom. You can see there we've got our PSA staff champions. And as I said, they're just certain individuals within the organisation that will help us run things, but also feed back into the organisation itself and find the right people to address any issues we identify within the profession or things we want advocated on for our behalf. We then have the interested observers. So this is the interest group. Essentially, they're people that can join the CSI. They'll get access to the discussion forum. And really, that's it. They can just watch and see the discussions that are coming through. And if they really feel, if they're keen, they can share stuff on that discussion forum. And I would encourage people to share whatever they like. Whether we've got the advantage of being the technology generation, so chuck a TikTok on there, memes, I'm very happy to see that stuff. I like seeing people's pets, and I would love to start a pharmacy pets forum on there. So if anyone wants to do that, I'm all about it. But then we've also got some discussion topics on there that are a little bit more in depth about some of the issues we're facing or working out how to support each other. So the practice group is perhaps those people that are a little bit more involved in those discussions and sharing things, particularly individuals that are quite keen to champion a particular area. So if they're really interested in mentoring and they want to improve that, then the leadership group can sort of link that person in with PSA or whatever it may be so they can actively participate. But having said that, if you're just someone that wants to watch and learn, you sort of sit in that interest group area and you're welcome to interact as much or as little as you like. So the practice group, as I said, a little bit more involved. That's probably a bit more reflective of our previous working group structures in the states and territories, where you can meet up for a discussion and we'll facilitate that type of things and have feedback, but you don't necessarily have to lead anything and you can choose to be involved. And we'll be recognising people that do actively contribute as well. So if you're someone that's always on the forum and participating, or you're coming to the meetings and really leading discussions, you will be recognised for that contribution as well. And at the top, we have the leadership group. So my lovely leadership group will introduce themselves in a second. And these people have nominated to be on the leadership group. And essentially, our job is to help facilitate the experience for everyone else. So we will organise meetings. We will be the ones sort of monitoring the discussion and feeding things back into the PSA staff champions and leadership at PSA. There is someone from every state and territory at this point in time, and that's really to connect back in with those working groups as we start to transition to this structure. They are all very talented individuals in themselves, and I'm so lucky that I get to commandeer a lot of their time for a chat. So I will let them introduce themselves. So if my leadership group can turn their cameras on, and I will ask you one at a time to introduce yourself. Isa, you're the first one on my screen. So do you want to introduce yourself to everyone, please?
Hi, my name's Isa. I'm joining you tonight from Wurundjeri in Melbourne. My background is in community pharmacy, and I've also recently completed a PhD in medicine use in aged care. I was the previous Vic ECP state chair.
Yeah, so Isa's already been very involved in the working groups and brings that wealth of experience to us. And Isa's also very interested in sustainability and pharmacy's role to play in that. So watch this space, because that will be one of the things that ECPs will be discussing and working on. Lily?
Hi everyone, my name is Lily. It's nice to see you all tonight as well. I guess I was first introduced to the PSA from being a student and going to NAPSA conferences, and that's kind of how I got really involved and how I'm here now. Like Deanna and Isa, I'm also involved in a little bit of academia. I do a little bit of community and also hospital work as well.
Thanks, Lily. Lily has had a fascinating array of experiences, from e-prescriptions to helping assist nursing homes with COVID responses as well. So she has so much knowledge to share. Aaron?
Hey guys, my name is Aaron. I'm calling in from WA in Perth. I've currently working in community pharmacy. I was a previous WA ECP Working Group chair, and I have a strong passion for advocacy for pharmacy, but also for appropriate antibiotic use as well. And I will be posting a little post on the ECP CSI page very shortly on that too.
Thanks, Aaron. So watch this space, and if you share the same interest, or even if you don't, maybe you can learn something from that post. We have Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm coming to you from the ACT. I'm a first year registered pharmacist, being quite involved with PSA in the working groups for a little while since I was a student. Similarly to Lily, got involved with NAPSA, and I'm really passionate about student involvement and the impact early career pharmacists can have on the future of our profession.
Thanks, Erin. Erin's also a resident TikToker, so watch this space. We're going to make her go viral for pharmacy to combat all those medical and nursing. Sam?
Hi everyone, I hope you all can hear me. Thanks for having me here today. My name's Sam. I'm coming from Terrible Land in Brisbane, Queensland. I'm a fourth year pharmacy student with the University of Queensland, and I'm also the current acting secretary of both NAPSA and QPSA. And I've been lucky enough to be involved in the ECP group for, I believe, the past year and a half or 2 years or something. It's been fantastic.
Thanks, Sam. So Sam is our go-to with students at the moment, and she has brought so much knowledge and awareness in that space. And I'm very impressed by any student that's brave enough to put their hand up to be on a committee, because contrary to popular belief, I was not one of those people until a couple of years ago. So thank you, Sam. We have Kate.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm speaking to everyone from Melbourne in Victoria. So I'm currently a pharmacy lecturer at RMIT University. My background, I've actually had a couple of years experience in hospital as well as community while I was doing my PhD. So my research was in medication safety and pharmacy practice, so same supervisor as Isa. And yeah, I'm really glad to be here today, and I'm really happy also to see some of the colleagues I worked with previously in my community pharmacy here tonight as well. So yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Kate. And I think Kate is my current inspiration, as along with Isa, for actually trying to finish my PhD. We got Hannah.
Hi all, my name's Hannah and I'm joining you from Brisbane today. I'm a hospital pharmacist and I have a sort of strong interest in the development of the pharmacy profession, so making sure that we are where medicines are, and also pharmacy education, so how we actually engage early career pharmacists, mentor them, and sort of training and development.
Thanks, Han. And I know we've had many a great chats about changing behaviour in education and things like that. Hannah is also a link back into the FIP Young Pharmacists Group. So that's the International Pharmaceutical Federation. So we also have some links there, which means that we can have a bit of an idea what's going on internationally, which is exciting as well. And we've got Johnny.
Hello, everyone. I'm Johnny. I'm the representative from Tasmania. This is my first year as a fully registered pharmacist, and I work at a rural hospital in the northwest of Tasmania. I'm the newest addition to the leadership group, not too experienced in this role, but I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Johnny, and we're so glad to have you. And he's a little bit humble, but he was actually one of the people last year that sort of raised the issue of interns' hours and how going into isolation could be problematic for interns getting to finish their hours. And we saw that raised up with PSA, and then discussions were had and the hour requirement was reduced so that they could still complete their exams and join the workforce, which is essential in a pandemic. So thank you, Johnny. I think we all have a lot to learn off you as well. And we also have James.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully everyone can hear me. My name is James. I'm calling from the Sunshine Coast. I graduated pharmacy at Townsville at JCU in 2017, and I've been involved with the Early Career Pharmacists Working Group for many years, since 2015. I currently work as a pharmacist manager at Live Life Pharmacy in the Noosa hinterland, and I have a great passion for community pharmacy and leadership within the workplace and really building everyone's morale and with the community pharmacy workflow. I'm really excited to help, as I said, integrate our new working groups with our new CSIs and facilitate everything that we can do to help.
Thanks so much, James. And as you can tell, James is a resident ray of sunshine and he always brings the good vibes. If I was working in a community pharmacy, I'd like to work in yours. So that is everyone from our leadership group. So I'm just going to go through a little bit more information about the operation of the group. If anyone has any questions, whether you're an ECP or not, feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. So if anyone hasn't noticed already and is an early career pharmacist and isn't part of the CSI, all of the QR codes link to the sign up. So please join us. As I said, you can be as involved as you like. So for those that are in the discussion forum are wondering what's happening, I'll go over a little bit of that now. So a few tips and tricks to get the most out of the discussion forum is we recommend going in and changing the settings to every post or to a daily digest. It will automatically give you a weekly digest, but by the time you get that email and see the post coming through, the discussion might have already moved on, and we really want everyone to get involved as soon as they can and make it as easy as possible. So we'd recommend changing it to every post or daily digest. We'd also recommend bookmarking the discussion forum or saving it on your phone home screen so you can get easy access to scroll. If you happen to get a lunch break, you can have a look at what's going on there, and also save your PSA login just so it's easier to get in. As I've already mentioned, we'd love everyone to post, like, reply. You can tag people in your posts as much or as little as you want. We want to share photos, videos, links. You can share TikToks. Erin will love it. Memes. You can create polls in there. So if you're wondering how everyone else would react to a topic or what they're most interested in, feel free to post a poll. And also discussion topics, or you can ask questions. So I think one of the things I get asked a lot when I'm working with students is what else is out there? What other career paths are there? How do I find a mentor? And some of those topics have already been posted on the discussion forum, and we've had various people answer them. And I expect those things will continue to build over time. We love it when you ask us questions because that means we get to share our experiences with you. And I think throughout my career, I've learned so much just from hearing how other people got to where they got or why they ended up there. So it can be as serious a topic or as lighthearted as you want. We don't judge in the ECP group. The leadership group will also be posting events that are relevant to ECPs from PSA. And that's also the way we'll communicate with you when we're having online meetups. So also a great idea to keep an eye on it so that you can see what we're working on, and we need some consultation and input from ECPs. We'll also be posting things on there. So it's a two-way communication for us. And if anyone has any problems or questions, you're welcome to reach out to anyone in the leadership group and we'll point you in the right direction. It shouldn't be too hard to find our contact details. So there's a whole heap of rules which basically just say, think first and play nice, but I don't expect we'll have any issues with it. So I'll let everyone read that in their own time. And now I'm just going to jump into a few quick frequently asked questions we've had. So those people that have previously been involved in the working groups probably have a few questions and we're happy to answer those. So the first one, can I join the Early Career Pharmacists CSI if I'm not an ECP? The answer is unfortunately not. So it's the only CSI that has that restriction of practice experience on it. Once you reach the 10 years, you will then be removed from the group with an appreciation for your contribution. So it's just to protect that space of people who are learning and developing. Can I join the CSI if I'm a student? Absolutely. And I would love for every student that is a student PSA member to join, just so you can see the sorts of things we discuss. You can get involved early on. If you want some job hunting advice, we're all there for that too. And it really gives you a part of that PSA experience that can continue if you continue to be a member throughout your career. So probably some of the more frequently asked questions we get is what will happen to the state early career pharmacist working groups? So there's so many fabulous things that have happened with the working groups in the States over the years. And obviously Chris is very aware of that because that's how he came into PSA and now he's president. So things like the professional development state groups were holding, some of the networking with other health professions, some were working on projects, some were working on policy and advocacy type plans. A lot of those things can actually be brought into the CSI and the leadership group will help facilitate that for practice group members, so those people that want to be involved, to continue to have those discussions. The best part about the CSI is if you're previously organising continuing professional development and things like that, we can now filter that back into PSA and they can organise some of those things for us. Some of the things more specific to states, so particular state-based advocacy, we can link back in with the branch committees. But some of the other questions we have there are, what about state-based meetups and what about state-based events? So those things can continue, and we would encourage you to meet up with your peers face-to-face if you are in a state where that is allowed at the moment. But what we'd really like to do is transition those conversations that you have to the discussion forum and to national practice group meetings, which is essentially like a national working group meeting, so that everyone has access to it, because with that we have more voices and we have more power. So those discussions will be transitioned so that everyone can be involved. If you meet up with some other ECPs in your state, we'd encourage you to share that on the discussion forum in case there's someone else in the state that doesn't know anyone and would like to link up with them. It'd be a great opportunity. And if you have discussions with your peers throughout the day, share them on the discussion board so that we can all join in, and then we can elevate those issues if they need to be back into PSA. So essentially, we're going for a bigger and better version of the working groups with a lot more support and a lot more feedback into what PSA is doing. Those face-to-face meetups, you're welcome to organise yourself, but all of the other big discussions we'll have coming through the practice group meetings, and there'll be opportunity to meet up. It'll give everyone across the country equal access to those conversations. So now I'll just jump to the chat and see if anyone's posted any questions for us. So if anyone thinks of any now, so Faye wants pharmacy pets as well, so we'll have to repost that for the community pharmacy CSI. While I'm waiting to see if anyone posts a question, I might pose one to my leadership group members anyway. What are you most excited about with the new CSI structure? And I might pick on Lily.
Yes, I know Deanna and I had a bit of a chat, and I had posted a little bit about kind of observing that a lot of my colleagues in hospital and in community were seeming a little bit more burnt out than usual. I'm based in Sydney, by the way, for reference, and we've got lockdown that's prolonged for a very long time, what feels like forever. And so we were kind of chatting on the CSI platform just about different ways of supporting each other, and also kind of sharing self-care, little tips and tricks. And so I was talking to Deanna, I believe last week it was, and we're looking at maybe starting a little bit of a kind of a self-care, mental health kind of boosting support group. And so I think what I'm trying to get from this is that these little discussions that we have on these groups are turning into into a kind of like a beast of their own, to really exciting, kind of proactive, and also you know, you can get really, really involved and supportive groups within this PSA CSI group. So I think that's what I'm really excited for, what is to come with where these little ideas and these discussions start.
Yeah, and I really think that that touches on the power of sort of having that national CSI group. Now your conversation isn't just limited to your own state and the people in that room. We can now share it across states with other ECPs. And because of that, we've all connected up, which is great. Like I said, I feel like when I became chair, I got 9 new best friends in pharmacy with the leadership group. And I'd like everyone to feel that, and to feel that, you know, their ideas and things that they're worried about, whether it be burnout, whether it be advocating to a boss that isn't treating them well, that they've got that support there, because we have so many ECPs ready to do that, and we have PSA ready to help too. I think on that topic, Isa, do you want to give a little brief insight into where our conversations have gone and are potentially going in terms of your passions?
Yeah, thanks, Deanna. So in the early days of the CSI, I put a post up just to sort of scope out who would be interested and who's keen on acting on climate change, which is probably the biggest challenge that we'll ever have to face in our lifetimes. And I got a really good response, and I was so surprised that other people were really passionate and also had done reading on this. So I thought, as a member of PSA, I would love to see the organisation and the profession get behind some sort of action. So flowing out of those conversations, having the CSI, structure, we've been able to sort of get something moving on that. I don't know how much you'd like me to say, Shanna.
So I guess, again, similar to Lily, we've had these conversations, been able to share them with a few more people, people that I hadn't had that type of conversation with about environmental impact and those sorts of things. We've had students from SA join in. I'm so proud of them for replying to ESA. But because of that, we've been able to elevate those conversations to PSA staff who are going to support us to write a position statement. And what that means is that we can then share what we think PSA's position should be in terms of this space. And that will go through a number of processes. But ultimately, in the end, if that is accepted by PSA as a position, then it can become part of our policy and advocacy. And that means that PSA can take steps as an organisation to look at their own environmental impact and some changes that they can make, but also means that they'll be able to advocate with stakeholders within the industry and within government and connect up with them as well to see what pharmacy more broadly can do. So it's obviously a passion area of ESA's, and I'm very interested in that space. And as she said, it's one of the big challenges we're going to face in a lifetime. As a healthcare provider, we're well placed and very concerned about this because it's going to impact our population's health. But this means this conversation goes from just being something we're worried about and would like to work on to potentially some tangible action to help PSA advocate for the things that we care about. So as we said, there's a number of processes involved in that, and we'll be involving ECPs in those conversations as well. So anyone who wants to get involved, I encourage you to get in touch with us, even just check out the post in the discussion forum and add your own thoughts. We're not expecting anyone to have academic level interpretation. I certainly don't. ESA's got a lot more information than I do, but it's certainly an area that we're all quite interested in. So that brings us to the last unit. I'll just check the chat again. Cool, everyone's following each other on Instagram. I love that. And I love the sharing of pets. We'll continue to encourage that. So if no one has any final questions, I will just briefly go through some of the exciting things that PSA has coming up. And you're very welcome to join the discussion forum if you're an ECP. And as I said, let us know your thoughts, what you're passionate about, what you're worried about, what you want support with, because we're ready and waiting to help you. So I didn't know if you want to say words, Chris, before I close up.
Oh, I was just going to, that conversation itself was brilliant. And I was just going to acknowledge a point that you made earlier on, which was around making sure ECPs within this group don't feel just confined to the ECP CSI. It's really important that we have your voices in those other CSIs, whether it be community pharmacy, interdisciplinary care, respiratory care. Those are the other ones at the moment, but that will expand eventually. We don't want you siloed in your space over here. So this is a protected space for some of those conversations to have. But if it's, ESA's interest around environmental impact around medicine use, for example, when there's some good examples around what we're doing with our expired inhalers, as an example, that would be a great conversation to also have in the respiratory care CSI, right? So it's really important that we have ECP voices in those other CSIs moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So ECP, sign up first and then go and jump on the other forums. And if you see something on the other forums that you think is really important to ECPs to share, then copy it across. We'll try to pollinate those conversations as much as we can. I think the other point that I wanted to make before I share some of the other exciting events and close is that for those that are in the working group and still wondering about what bits we're transitioning or worried about particular things, in October we're going to have a national practice group meeting, and we're inviting all the working group members and any new CSI members to come along to that conversation. And we will have quite a bit of time allocated to talking about the things that you love about the previous ECP structure, what we can facilitate on the forum and with virtual meetups. And then if there's anything that can't be transitioned to those, we'll be feeding back into PSA with some ideas about how they can support those other things if they can't be done through the forum and through virtual meetups. So don't worry, the good bits aren't going. We will be working out a plan for them. And if you have any ideas, get in contact with the leadership team because we'd love to hear them. So what else is happening in September? Next week, so Wednesday night, we have the Connecting to Your Pharmacy Career webinar, also chaired by me. I'm very excited about this one as well because I get to chat with 10 other fantastic pharmacists from all those career paths that I didn't know existed as a student. So I would encourage everyone to sign up, whether you are an early career pharmacist, a student, or a late career pharmacist, because you are bound to learn something. And we even have a little celebrity guest there, one of the ex-MasterChef contenders. And it seems that pharmacists do really well on MasterChef. So I'm very curious to find out why they think that is. So that's next Wednesday, and I encourage everyone to sign up and tap someone else on the shoulder to sign up as well. You can join in your jammies. I can't, but you can, so enjoy that. And on Friday night, we also have the PSA Symbiont Excellence Awards. So usually these awards are presented at the PSA conference, but we didn't have the opportunity to meet face-to-face this year. So again, this is going to be really cool. The plan is that they'll be crossing live to the winners. And you'll get to see their faces, their houses, but basically we'll be live streamed through YouTube. So keep an eye on that link. And at the time, again, jump on, no one's going to see you. You can be in your PJs and get around those people that are really leading our profession. They're always fantastic individuals and have a wealth of knowledge and experience to share. And it always inspires me so much to hear about the things that the best of the best in our profession have been contributing to. And finally, we finish up on Saturday. It's actually World Pharmacist Day. So obviously we want to make a lot of noise here. You should have already received some communications from PSA about how you can get involved in World Pharmacist Day. We'll be sharing trust statements because the theme is your pharmacist is always trusted. So think about something that your patients or the students that you teach trust you to do in terms of being a pharmacist. And I encourage you to share that on social media. You'll certainly see all of us taking photos and videos and sharing those things, and not just on your professional social media, but also with your family and friends. It's a chance to reflect on the great things that we do as pharmacists, which sometimes get really lost in the day-to-day, to celebrate each other, but to celebrate the contribution that the profession makes more broadly to healthcare, and to start to elevate some of that recognition as well. So scan the code, download the borders, take pictures, and I can't wait to see what you all come up with. And that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I hope to see you all involved in the CSI. And I hope to meet you all face to face in the near future too.